Morning. Decided to take a little excerpt from the big book today on the part of There is a Solution, starting one paragraph in on page 24. The fact is that most alcoholics, for reasons yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. Our so called willpower becomes practically non existent. We are unable, at certain times, to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. We are without defense against the first drink. The almost certain consequences that follow taking even a glass of beer do not crowd into the mind to deter us. If these thoughts occur, they are hazy and readily supplanted with other threadbare ideas that this time we shall handle ourselves like other people. There is a complete failure of the kind of defense that keeps one from putting his hand on a hot stove. The alcoholic may say to himself in the most casual way, "It won't burn me this time, so here's how." Or perhaps he doesn't think at all. How often have some of us begun to drink in this nonchalant way and after a third or fourth pounded on the bar and said to ourselves, "For God's sake, how do I ever get started again?" Only to have that thought supplanted by, "Well, I'll stop by the sixth drink," or "What's the use anyhow?" This is all about, self-will, because we have people tell us all the time when we're addicts and alcoholics, well, you just don't have enough willpower. You don't have enough, strength inside you to do it. That's what it is. Just you need the willpower. Well, my willpower doesn't work against alcohol. If I pick up a drink, I'm getting drunk. I can't have a drink. I never had a drink in my life. You know, people would always say, "Hey, let's stop after work and have a beer." That's stupid. I never had a fucking beer. If I'm gonna stop at the bar, I'm gonna have a beer or 50. I'm not fucking around with it. I have one drink. That's just, for me, that doesn't work. When this sort of thinking is fully established in an individual with alcoholic tendencies, he has probably placed himself beyond human aid, and unless locked up, he may die or go permanently insane. These stark and ugly facts have been confirmed by legions of alcoholics throughout history. But for the grace of God, there would have been thousands more convincing demonstrations. So many want to stop, but cannot. So there's the whole thing is with willpower, there's so many people, and I don't know how many times I told myself, I'm not going to drink today. And by 9 o'clock in the morning, I was cracking a beer or pouring a glass of vodka, and then by afternoon, wondered, what the fuck? I wasn't going to drink today. Why am I don't even want this. It's not about willpower. There is a solution. Almost none of us like the self searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of shortcomings, which the process requires for its successful consummation. But we saw that it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life as we had been living it. Damn, fire safe cigarette. Looking like Andrew Dice Clay up here. When therefore we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit, very simple program, the simple kit of spiritual tools laid upon our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into the fourth dimension of existence, of which we had not even dreamed. That's the thing this program is going to do. You're going to experience things that you never experienced before. One of the reasons they call it a spiritual kindergarten is because, like, when I started drinking, I was very young. Um, and for a lot of addicts and alcoholics, what happens is when we start at a certain age or a certain time in our life, part of us gets trapped at that age, because we just never matured beyond that point. So for me, starting in 11, for many, many years, my mentality was that of a young teenager because I had never progressed emotionally or mentally beyond that because I didn't handle situations, that other people had gone through and handled as they grow and they mature. So it's just, the things this program has opened up for me have been amazing. The great fact is just this, and nothing less, that we have had deep and effective spiritual experiences, which have revolutionized our whole attitude towards life, toward our fellows, and towards God's universe. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. He has commenced to accomplish those things for us, which we could not, which we could never do for ourselves. If you are as seriously alcoholic as we were, and I'm as alcoholic as they come, we believe there is no middle of the road solution. So the easier, softer way, the gentler, kinder recovery, all the other bullshit, the California sobers, the Malibu clinics, there's a woman out there now who's saying, that Alcoholics Anonymous has created all these falsehoods and blame this and that on drinking and the alcohol industry. And, you know, I don't blame anything on the alcohol industry. I don't know. Anheuser-Busch, they didn't do shit to me. Miller Lite didn't do shit to me. They just produce a product, that I'm legally allowed to use. The problem is my body doesn't work the right way. My mind doesn't work the right way. This is a malady of both body and mind. We were in a position where life was becoming impossible, and if we had passed into the region from which there is no return through human aid, we had but two alternatives. One was to go to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could, and the other to accept spiritual help. This we did because we honestly wanted to and were willing to make the effort. Started on page 24 of the big book. There's more too. There is a solution in the book. I suggest that you read it. Um, it's like I said, it touches on, self-will and things of that nature. Um, my self-will is not there. I mean, I have willpower, like a motherfucker. Uh, I can put my mind to anything and accomplish it if I want to, with the exception of alcohol or drugs. Because when I take that first drink, and all it takes is that first drink, you know, one's too many and a thousand's not enough. That's the reality of my situation. I've been sober for over 11 years now. Seems crazy. But if I pick up a drink today, I'm going to be the same guy that I was over 11 years ago. My disease has not gone away. My alcoholism is still there. And the chances are that it's going to be tenfold what it was when I quit, because it's still there and it's never weakened. Um, what I have is a daily reprieve based upon my spiritual condition. So when I get up and I tell myself I'm going to have a good day today, I'm not going to drink today, and I say a prayer in the morning, um, I ask God, just let me today not drink. And, I've had people say, well, it's been so long, can't you, don't you think you can drink like normal people? Well, if you know me, I'm far from fucking normal. Um, the other thing is, maybe, maybe there's a chance that I could pick up a drink and go and have a couple of beers with somebody and then come home and be done. But the greater risk is that I'm not going to come home and that I'm going to drink away everything that I have, and it's not worth that risk. I know that deep inside of me, there's a demon that wants me to do that. And my alcoholic brain works like that, because I will tell myself sometimes, a beer right now would be really good. And I know I could have one because I'm so knowledgeable about my disease. Now I understand how it works. I don't understand how this shit works, you know, but my brain tells me that I do. My brain says, oh, you could have, one drink of vodka and it's not going to kill you. No, it probably will fucking kill me. I've had people say, you know, what about near beer or non-alcoholic beer? Because, I listen to people all the time in the program that'll say, you know, I didn't like the taste, I didn't like the effect, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Bullshit. You know, if you didn't like the effect, the taste, or something about alcohol, you would not been an alcoholic, because, you wouldn't take it into your body. For me, from the first time I ever drank, I knew that this was my answer. Like I said before in a previous video, alcohol is not my problem. It is my solution to my problem. My problem is I'm an alcoholic. My body wants that. It craves that, so my mind will work on me, even today, and say, hey, you could drink, you could do this, you could do that. I know that I can. So, like, the question of non-alcoholic beer, or now they have non-alcoholic whiskey, which is stupid. Um, people are like, if you like the taste, why can't you drink that? Here's the way that my brain works. So let's just say that I start drinking, whatever the new non-alcoholic fucking flavor of the day is. So let's just say I start drinking beer, and it's non-alcoholic, and I come home after work and have a couple, or I go with my buddies after work, and which I say buddies, I really don't have any. Um, but let's say I go and I drink non-alcoholic beer at the bar. So I come home. Now my wife starts to get used to the smell of this non-alcoholic beer. I'm like, right. The way that my brain already works is okay, if I drink non-alcoholic beer for 3 or 4 weeks, get everybody around me used to the smell, I can slip a real beer in there or two, and get away with it and nobody will know. And that's how my mind is. My mind's already plotting, okay, this is how we'll get away with drinking real beer, not stopping to think about the effects, and how it's going to take over. Um, and probably the fact that since I haven't drank in, over 11 years, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So, my mind doesn't worry about figuring out how am I going to explain my drunk behavior, but my alcoholic mind's like, you can do this, you can do this. So it's not about willpower. It's deeper than that. I have a spiritual and physical malady. So, that's why I ask my higher power every day, please let me get through today and not drink. So I don't know if this one bored you or not. But my reading is not necessarily something people want to listen to. Um, but I figured I'd put something out here today, and I was going through my big book this morning, and I saw that passage, and I was like, maybe I'll share that and see what people think. Um, I went to a 30th high school. I went to a 30th high school reunion. Words are hard. Um, a few weeks ago and saw some people that I haven't seen in more than 30 years. Some of them, one guy realized that I haven't seen him since 1985. Um, but I got a lot of good feedback from those people that have been friends with me on Facebook for a long time now, and the videos and the discussion and the honesty, they really were complimentary. Um, and and I'm not gonna lie, it felt good to have people that knew me when I was a kid to say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's great. I've gotten some other feedback from some other people. And, as long as I get positive feedback, I'll keep putting something out here. And like I said, I'm still working diligently on the website. Um, but I hope you guys have a great day. And I don't know where you're at, but in middle northern Ohio, it's supposed to be in the 80s today and finally no rain. So I love you all. Have a good day. Don't drink, go to meetings.